Welcome to the Q&A portion of the Budget with Me Live. I'm so happy that so many of you guys have stuck around. This is a very emotional budget, you guys. It's so emotional. So I did make mention that I was gonna do a little sort of talk through of like the I don't know what would we call it, the IRS thing. So the IRS debt that is new, that is personal liability. So the IRS debt that you guys have been watching me pay off for a year and a half, that was actually back taxes on my old business. This IRS is actually taxes on my personal liability as an employee for a place where I work part time. I believe that my taxes probably would have been, I don't understand. I'm clearly going to take a class in taxes. That's what I'm going to do. I don't know what it was. No, I didn't file exempt, but I still didn't pay enough into my taxes as a part-time employee, and that's why I have a $3,000 or $4,000 liability. About the total, the actual specific number is I owe $830.58 to state, and then I owe $3,161 to federal. And now that I'm thinking about my budget, I probably should have decided how I was breaking that up. Am I sending that to state or am I sending that to federal? Well, you guys tell me. The 126.24 that I'm sending in taxes, I guess I send it to state because that's the lowest one. And now that taxes become a priority in the debt snowball, to honor the debt snowball, I'm still paying it in that same order. But you guys let me know. Press 1 if I do it to state taxes first, and press 2 if I do it to my federal taxes first. But that is where that is coming from. It is a personal tax liability, whereas before the other taxes that I was paying off was a old back taxes on a business. Adriana said, is it too low of a number to split? I kind of think so. No? I feel like, why is my chat disabled for this live stream? What's that about? Hold on. I can see you guys over here, but it's definitely, I don't know why my chat is disabled. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why that's disabled. I'm gonna figure that out, but press 1 if I should put it on the smallest of the two, so basically state before federal, and press 2 if I should put it on the federal. While you guys are weighing in, I am going to go to the old live video just to see if there were any questions that you guys had in there that I can pull into this one, and then I'm going to figure out why my questions are not coming up on this side. Okay, so Andrea Harville said, have you ever thought of paying yourself every week? Would it be an extra cost to do so? It wouldn't be an extra cost to do so, but because money is so emotional, I try very hard not to give myself more opportunities to freak out. It's actually easiest when I pay myself once a month, but I realized that my budgeting skill set muscle wasn't strong enough to be able to handle that, and that's why I went back to twice a week. Because it's basically like freaking out once a month versus freaking out 4 times a month. So I'm just not at that level yet, but in time. Sharon Fraser says, Stacey, how do you handle money left in your account from prior month? I budget for something but didn't use the funds. I leave it in my account as the floor, with the exception of usually my food budget. Whatever money I have left over my food budget, I really do usually bring that over. So like, because typically when I'm doing my food, I'm using cash. So like what's left in my cash envelope, I will definitely try to use that in the next month and just beef up my food budget. So like this month, I think I'm going to have a little bit of food budget money left over. So I'm going to bring that into this coming month. I think I'm also going to have some personal hygiene money left over, which is going to be amazing. And I may reallocate that towards my IRS debt. If I'm being, let me tell y'all the truth. That's a lie. I lied. That was a lie right there. I don't know if there's a way for you to capture my face. I'm going to listen to this back, and I'm going to see what my face looks like when I'm lying, because I straight up lied to y'all. because I would not do that with that $50 that I find that's going to be left over, because I believe I'm going to have $50 left over when I reconcile my account this month. And y'all want to know what I'm going to do with that $50? What I'm going to do with that $50, and y'all can try to stop me, I would appreciate if you actually tried to stop me, is I'm going to put it towards my medical debt. And I'm going to put it towards my medical debt because I want to try. I really just want to get down to only paying on my student loans. That's what I want. And so if there's any money left over in my checking account, I'm going to try to murder that medical debt. So that random $1,000 that's just hanging around is not hanging around. Now, I know that's out of order. I know that's not what I'm supposed to do. I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to put it on my taxes. I'm supposed to pay my taxes. I don't want to do that. And so I lied, and I apologize. I fixed the lie, but that's a lie. Like, and I'm trying to tell y'all the truth right now, but you're more than welcome to this. You know, when people are like, you don't accept feedback. Give me some feedback. Give me a reason. Tell me, bite my head off. Criticize me. Tell me all of the things that's wrong with how I'm overreacting and being ridiculous. Tell me now, because now I'm open and accepting feedback. Because my truth is, any extra money that I find, I'm going to do my darndest to get rid of that medical bill, because then, by golly, I'll just have my BCD, my new IRS, and my student loans. And then you know what I'm going to want to do with the next money that I get? I'm being honest, I'm really going to want to try to kill my BCD debt. And it's going to take everything in my power, all of my willpower, to not pay off that BCD debt before I pay off this IRS. Because let me tell you this, I don't want to pay this IRS bill. I don't want to do it. And it's going to be a challenge to watch me do it. There's that. Alicia says, Stacey, where did you get the forms in the book like that? I still print mine from. So I printed mine, the one that's in the like book form. I literally took that out of the book that you get when you sign up for the program, because I didn't print one for today, and I didn't want to not do this budget today, because I knew if I didn't do it today, I wouldn't do it at all. So yeah, it literally is in a book, because it still has a little sticky line from where I pulled it out. Anna Story said, I know you, Shara Frazier said, I know you asked Stacey, but either use the money to pay off more. Oh, okay. Andrea said, good night, Stacey. Thanks for sharing. Bedtime here in Australia. Thank you so much for joining from Australia. I appreciate that. Jobo, how much money should you set aside for taxes if you're self-employed? It depends on how your company is organized, so you have to talk to your tax accountant for it. But a lot, but you have to talk to your tax accountant. It really depends on how much money you make and the type of entity that you have, but a lot. Alexis, yes, congrats. Congratulations, Alexis. What are we congratulating you for? I'm trying to find it. Oh, you're going to be graduating from college in 2 weeks. Congratulations. That is really exciting. That is really exciting. Leah Millionaire, you're frustrated right now. Maybe take a break and try again later. You know, Leah, a lot of us take a break when things get hard. And one of the things that I've learned in the last couple of years is that, like, it's not a bad thing to take a break when things get hard, but there's some things like budgeting that where I'm at right now, pushing through is actually more beneficial to me and my financial health and growth than pausing to come back. Because I understand that I'm actually not fighting with the numbers right now. I'm fighting with the emotional overwhelm. And so what I'm trying to train my brain and my mind is to know and understand that even when you want to shut down on me, even when you want to act like I don't know how to do math, even when you want to act up and shut me out in fight or flight, what's going to happen is you're going to sit here and you're still going to push through. I'm actually trying to condition my brain to understand that just because you give me an overwhelming emotion doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing my math. And I'm doing that intentionally because I understand that my money mindset is going to be the thing that shifts me out of this space that I'm in financially right now. So I do agree with taking breaks. I don't agree with taking breaks at this stage in my financial journey, or even taking breaks at this point of frustration, because there's something that happens when you put the emotional tornado that your brain creates literally to stop you. Like if I stopped every time my emotion hit frustration, I would be nowhere, especially on this financial journey. Like I expect the frustration. And that's why I told you guys at the beginning of the call, it's like, it's gonna be 90 minutes to 2 hours. This is gonna be a long one because I'm emotional. So I expect it for that. So some circumstances, yes, we should take breaks. Most circumstances, we shouldn't, especially when frustration is the emotion, because frustration is an excuse not to do something that may really need to be done. Like there are some situations where you're frustrated, and if you don't take a break, you'll wear out a muscle or an ability. But this isn't one of those situations. This was just my emotions thinking that my emotions get to run the show. And guess what? My emotions don't run the show. My thoughts run the show. My choices run the show. And my brain is going to learn today. Guess who runs the show? The thoughts. Which that's what really runs the show anyway. But I want to just have my higher, better thoughts. Andrea Harville said, does your accountant handle your personal and business taxes? Yes. And Tina said, how about save monthly for the IRS since you know? Yes, so I do save monthly. Moving forward, I do. I really did not anticipate an IRS bill that was more than what I set aside from my business taxes, because I didn't think I made that much money at my part-time job, so I didn't think I was gonna have to pay that much. But yeah, taxes, man. Victoria Walker said, it sounds like for every $4 you make, you owe the IRS $1. Does that add up to any perspective? For me, it feels like for every $4 I make, I owe the IRS $3. That's what it feels like. And what I was doing was what I was doing was basically paying a quarter for every dollar. That's what I was doing. Now what I'm about to start doing is paying 75 cents for every dollar. Just because I can't handle this. I'm about to start crying now. Like I can't handle this idea that I'm forever gonna be in this hole with this IRS. Because that was my thought, is that like every dollar you owe them a quarter. I'm fine with that. Like you guys watch me out of $1 give 10 cents. Like, right? So like I don't have a problem giving what is owed, right? Like you guys literally watch me every month from the time that I was making $800 to now what I'm making. Out of every dollar, I'm giving 10 cents away. So giving 10 cents away isn't, something that I struggle with. And I don't struggle with even the 25% that I was giving to the IRS. In theory, I wasn't struggling with that. But when your income grows, like, okay, so let's just talk numbers real quick. Y'all know, in order for me to be able to get out of this debt, minimum I have to make $250,000, right? If I'm to get out of this debt this year, minimum I have to make $250,000. So let's just take $250,000 by 25%. That means $62,500 is what I'm sending to the IRS. That blows your mind, right? Like that is the mind-blowing thing, to be like, I'm basically paying a salary and two salaries to the IRS. That's a lot to like wrap my mind around. I'm like, in order for me to honorably and with integrity and honoring my country and its systems and its laws and all the citizens who live here, in order for me to stand and say, I have earned $250,000. I have created $250,000 in the marketplace. In order for me to play that game, my entry fee is $62,000. That's the entry price. That is how you enter to play a game of let's make $250,000 this year. Your entry price is $62,000. So now I wasn't prepared emotionally for that entry fee, right? Emotionally, I was like, okay, let me prepare myself to make $250,000. Like, I understand it's going to be a stretch for me income-wise and yada, yada. I get it, blah, 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 blah. So I was preparing myself emotionally to wrap my mind around that level of success from an income perspective and how my life was going to change, because now I'm someone who's made $250,000, and now people are going to be like, oh, you know, you're not relatable, and oh, you think you're all that because you make $250,000. I was prepared for it. I was preparing myself for that. You guys watch me, you know, struggle and think through the whole fear of success, like you guys are listening to my podcast. So you guys are seeing me just prepare myself for that. What I wasn't prepared for is the entry fee. And the entry fee to somebody who dreams of making $250,000 from their own company, at least in the United States of America, is $62,000. So the question isn't, Stacey, can you create something of value that people will that will earn you $250,000? The question is, Stacey, can you give your government $62,000 so you can play the $250,000 game? That's the question that I'm trying to answer. Is, do I want to give my government $62,000 so that I can play the game of being someone who earned $250,000? And right now, the answer to that question is no. I don't want to give you $62,000. Like, I don't want to give anybody $62,000. I don't want to do that. And so it's just like, and I'm sharing this with you because, again, this was the part I wasn't prepared for. Nobody prepares you for the entry fee. They're like, put it on your vision board. You can manifest anything you want. Listen, that's correct, but understand that in all your manifestation, you are paying higher entry fees. The entry fee to earn $60,000 is less than the entry fee to earn $250,000. So it's like, while I'm dreaming of paying off all of my debt, the price that I have to pay to be able to earn enough money to pay off my debt is minimum $62,000. So just to be able to pay off my debt, I have to also earn $62,000 above that. And I have to live, and I have to, you know, and I have to manage being an adult woman and being a mom and it blows your mind. It's like, what game are you playing? And most people are playing the game of somewhere between $35,000 and $75,000, trying to tell me that, oh, you know, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. It's not necessary. Listen, I am playing the game of $250,000. Let me tell you what the stakes are at this game. To sit at the table, you need to be willing to give your government $62,000. So if you're not willing to give the government $62,000, guess what conversation I'm not having with you? The conversation about what I'm gonna do to stay in this game. This is a hard. Imagine if somebody was like, yeah, the only way to play with me is to be willing to give me $62,000. Like, that's right. And I understand, you know, hopefully, I think my tax accountant is going to be able to do her tax gymnastics, etc., right? So maybe it's $50,000. But either way, the entry price to play the game that I'm playing is a willingness to give my United States government 2 small salaries. And you guys got to give me a second to wrap my mind around that. Like, you don't have to. I appreciate you guys for loving me and just allowing me to be able to say this. You guys don't have to do anything. I'm sorry. But like, that's what I like. And it's like, because it's like, there's only so much information I can take in at one point. And so it's like, in theory, having a conversation with your accountant about playing the game of $250,000 is totally different than when your actual quarter is showing up like you might mess around and make that. Like, because it's the thing. It's not like my accountant is like, well, let's play, Stacey. Let's pretend like you're going to make it. No, she's like, oh, wait a minute. This is how much revenue you made this quarter, Stacey? Like, if you do this again, if you don't do anything else but just this, you do realize this is how much you're going to have to pay. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? And she was just like, yeah. And I was like, how did you do that math? How did that work? Like, because it's just like, you think it's a good thing. And it is. And that's what I'm saying. I have conflicting energy right now, so give me some grace. It is a good thing to earn. But it's like, the game is different. We are playing different games. First of all, most people are playing the game of corporate America where somebody else is managing. Not corporate America, but corporate. Most people are playing the game of employee, and so you manage it differently. It's still a struggle and it's still stressful, and there's a reason why certain different things that you do inside of the United States is incentivized. Like when you get married, there's an incentive tax-wise. When you buy a house, there's an incentive tax-wise. There's all these incentives to make decisions, and essentially what the government is trying to do is to get you to participate in society. I get that. That's not lost on me. Totally understand. But that's a whole nother game. The game of employee is a different game than the game of entrepreneur. Even the game of employee at the rate of $250,000 is a different game than the game of entrepreneur at $250,000, because the game of employee at $250,000 is the selling and marketing of somebody else's product or service, right? Like somebody else put their soul or whatever out there, and you are an employee responsible for getting it out into the marketplace. The game of entrepreneurship is taking a piece of my soul, putting it out into the marketplace, selling it so that I can bring that in, and then paying an entry fee to play at this level of $62,000. Like, it's just a different, I wasn't prepared for my entry costs. That's what you guys are witnessing, is me freaking out about my entry costs. I was prepared. I was so excited about the pieces. I was like, oh my gosh, $250,000. That's amazing. And I'm not complaining. I'm just showing you guys that I was not prepared for my entry fee. And if you're going to come for me, I want you to be prepared to pay the entry fee that I'm paying, because most people are not prepared to pay the entry fee that I'm paying. And that's just the financial entry fee. I'm not talking about the emotional entry fee or the physical entry fee. No. I'm not talking about those, because that's just the price. That's what it was. I was prepared. I knew that that was the price of entrepreneurship. What I didn't know in real life, because I never paid attention to my money this way, is that the real entry fee for entrepreneurship, when people are like, oh, I want to make 6 figures, it's like, I'm even looking at that from a totally different perspective. Like, my goodness, that is my rant, and I'm off that soapbox. So I wasn't prepared for the entry fee to play the game that I signed up for at the beginning of the year. Now, obviously, I could decide to play a different game, right? Like, and you guys are like, yes, you don't have to make $250,000. Yes, but here's the thing, guys. This is the part that's blowing my mind. If I don't make it, right, like, let's just say it's like, calm down, ma'am, make 50 and your tax liability is less. And I'm like, you're right. But if I make 50 this year because I don't want to play the $250,000 game, the interest that I get on the nearly $200,000 that I'm in debt my risk isn't mitigated, because I still end up paying. I'm gonna pay this entry fee one way or another, is my point. The entry fee will be paid one way or the other. It's just a matter of, do you want to pay it now or do you want to pay it later? And I just wasn't prepared. So for those of you guys who want to play the game of $250,000, prepare yourself for the entry fee. And the entry fee, probably minimum, obviously different, your state, your country, your products, your services, minimum is $62,000. Okay. So yeah, so if you take that quarterly, $62,000 is my point. Who am I talking to? Alicia, I promise I'm not yelling at you. Alicia Mendoza, I'm not yelling. This is just me trying to heal out loud in front of you guys. But 62,500 divided by 4 means that each quarter I'm putting 15,000. Wait, that's not what I'm doing. Oh, is that just because it's not? It's 20. No, that's right. But that's not the number we came up with. I wonder if she did it this is a hypothetical situation. I'm thinking this. Sorry, guys. So my taxes were a little bit higher than that because of what my real thing is. But anywho, though. So 62,500 divided by 4 means that I'm paying the government about 15,500 a quarter. I'm just sending that to the government. So like, you guys saw me be like, oh my God, I paid off $10,000. It's like, yes, I paid off $10,000 and I sent my U.S. government $15,500. That's not the truth. I sent them a specific amount, but I'm just saying, based on the numbers that we just talked about, technically I would have sent the government $15,500. But it's just like, I'm sending my government more than I'm paying off in my debt, which blows my mind, because you would think that I would be able to keep more of my money so I could pay off my debt, but that's not how any of this works in the United States of America, of which I'm grateful to be a citizen. So this is also me not complaining about being a citizen of the United States of America. This is just me becoming aware of the different levels of this game that is played here in the United States of America. And as I'm entering the game of 250,000, we playing at a whole nother level here. It's just more questions. Let's see. All right, I'm just going up from the old one just to see if there's some questions. Um, I just saw somebody's comment said nothing wrong with being frustrated with the system. I'm not actually frustrated with the system. Like, I am like, if you've ever wanted to know what like a really happy, like proud American looked like, I'm probably her. I'm very grateful for my country. So I'm not frustrated with the system. I am disillusioned by what I was conditioned to think about the system, right? Like there is disillusionment, like it's almost like, let's just pretend like there are 4 games. I don't know how many games are being played here in the United States of America, but let's just pretend like there are 4 money games. And what has happened is that like people and we're gonna call them money game 1, money game 2, money game 3, money game 4. So people in money game 2 taught me about the money game 4, but they didn't tell me the truth because they don't know what they're talking about because they're not playing money game 4. Then the people in money game 4 taught me about money game 1, but they also don't know what they're talking about because they've never been in money game 4 or money game 1. So it's like people from different money games have educated me about each money game, but not from the perspective of being in that game. They've educated me from the perspective of looking at that game. So it's kind of like when somebody who's never been on government assistance talks about government assistance. It's like you don't know what you're talking about because you're talking about theory and I'm talking about experience. And guess what? The difference between theory and experience is application, and application changes everything. That's the difference between information and wisdom. We have so much information going on and around in the world today, but we are lacking wise people. And people look at that and they're like, why? How is this possible? With all the information that's available, you would think we would be wiser. We're not wiser because nobody's doing that thing in the middle called application, right? So the difference between information and wisdom is application. Where there is no application, there is no understanding. So somebody from money game 4 can't tell me what it's like to be in money game 2 because you have never been there. You don't know what you're talking about. But the issue is that what happens is people from different money games are educating you about the game you're in, and nobody is telling you the application or the experience. They're telling you the theory. So in theory, money game 4, you're right. Playing at money game 1 is all about blah, 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 blah. In theory, you're right. In application, you're dead wrong. You made a mistake. You're missing some viable information. So I'm not frustrated with my system. I'm disillusioned because the people in money game 1 who taught me and money game 3 who taught me did not teach me how to exist here in money game 2. Money game 1 was wrong and money game 3 was wrong. You guys missed big pieces. First of all, money game 1, you missed the piece that part of the reason why people in money game 2 get so irritated with money game 3, 4, and 1 is because of the entry fee. The entry fee for money game 2 is so high that you want to punch somebody in the face. Like, that's just what it is. I'm just putting it out there. And then the same thing, money game 3 people, why would you tell people in money game 2 that this was going to be easy? Like, why would you do that? And it's because if you jump from money game 1 to money game 3, 2 does seem easy, but if you actually walk these money games up, which it seems like that's how my life is going, I'm going to walk from one money game to the next. It's like, you're going to feel that. And it's just like the wrong people are educating people about the money game because application is important. So I am not frustrated with the system. I am grateful for the system. In the United States of America, inside of 17 years, I went from being a literal statistic, right? A 5th generation teen mother. I literally went from being a statistic to being an entrepreneur that's on target to earn $250,000. I'm fine with the system. I'm grateful that there's a path, right? I'm just disillusioned because the educators, not teachers, I'm not talking about actual teachers, I'm talking about family, friends, people, media, YouTube, like the people talking about it. It's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? You're not explaining the money game properly, right? So I'm disillusioned from what I learned from all these different people talking about different things in the money game because it's just definitely different when you actually enter it. So I just wanted to clarify that. It's not frustration. It's disillusionment, which looks very similar to frustration, but they're different. So I'm gonna try to. Oh, I have white stuff all over my face. Nobody was gonna say anything. Ugh. I don't know how to get my. I don't know why my comments are disabled. So I'm gonna try to go into my back end and see if I can grab them. See if I can grab them. Because I really want to be able to see. Oh, that's why, because I was going into the wrong one. There we go. All right, so let me keep answering your question. Jaden C. Parker, I have to wait months to see a neurologist because I can't afford it. Oh, okay, all right. Michael Kevy said, however, not knowing what it feels like to be making $250K as a business person and entrepreneur, you have a lot more incentive than a person who makes $250K as an employee. When you say more incentive, I think it's just different. You manage the stress differently. I'm gonna say anybody who's making a $250K salary is dealing with their fair share of stress. I think that, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're dealing with their fair share of stress. It's just the risk, right? The risk is spread out differently. So your greatest risk as an employee, I think, and again, I'm not in the game, so this is my outside opinion looking in. Oh, you said that's not what I mean. Okay, tell me what you mean, so that way I don't go all into that. So I see you guys said send it to state. So I'm going to send my IRS payment to state first. I wonder why so many of you guys' messages are going into review and I'm not able to see them. Like usually, like stuff is just, it pops up, but. Harville and Andrea Harville said, does your niece live in Rwanda or is that a separate from your graduation? That's separate from graduation. Rwanda is more of a business / personal trip. I have a friend who was a client previously and he has a specific assignment, but like I'm friends with like him and his wife and his family and all that other stuff. And so he has a particular project that he wants me to help him with. And so, you know, he just was like, listen, we have two options. I can come to you, or, you know, me and my wife can bring you out here. And I was like, I'm not going to be like, no, come here. Like, no, bring me to the continent of Africa and the country of Rwanda. So those are separate. Jobo, how much money should be put aside for taxes? Okay, yeah. It's between you and your tax consultant. The nurse Joe said, you winked when you lied. Okay, did I? Oh my gosh. Okay, all right. So I'm going to remember that because I didn't even think I was somebody who knew how to wink. But if that's my tell, then I'm gonna pay attention to that because I definitely. And then you said I adjust my glasses when I tell a fiblet. I do, or you know, you adjust your glasses when you tell a fib. Okay, so I wink when I. Is that what I do? Am I like, I'm lying, guys? Look. See, now that I'm trying to do it, like I don't. Okay, that is so funny. Okay, I'm definitely gonna pay attention to that. Let's see. Kim Lewis, I love you. I love your truth. Thank you. I appreciate that you guys can appreciate my truth. Let's see. Do you think, okay, Georgia Brown. So Georgia Brown, the only reason I'm not going to answer your question is because I don't want our conversation to become political, and that particular issue is highly politicized. I do have an opinion, but I just don't want to get political. Like, money is already very highly emotional and a taboo topic to talk about. So if we add that, and then because of the way I spend my money, that touches a little bit on religion. And because of the way I spend my money, it touches on me raising my son in a very unconventional way. So I'm already touching so many hot button issues that I'd rather not enter a conversation about politics. And talking about that topic does bring in politics, and I don't want to do that. But I do have an opinion. And I just wanted to honor you by acknowledging that you did have a question, even though I'm not going to answer it. What happened says, so for real, why not order them emotionally? Because when you emotionally, you don't stick to the Snowball, just like paying off City Girl. Yeah, I know, that's what I want to do. And the reason I'm not going to just override it and order it based on that is because I do want to put effort towards doing the right thing. That's kind of like being like, oh, I want to lose, you know, I want to go on a diet and, you know, lose weight. And so the thing that I do is I try to keep unhealthy food out of the house, but then I still end up going to go buy it. That's like asking somebody, well, why not stock your refrigerator with the food that you want if you're going to go out and buy it anyway? It's the idea is that just because I may make the mistake doesn't mean that I should make it easy for me to make the mistake. So it's the same sort of philosophy with that. It's like, I'm not going to make it easy for me to mess up. I'm going to write what I'm supposed to do and then deal with that like consequence and deal with that out of alignment, out of integrity rub that I'm going to feel, with the intent of that making me stronger, better for the future. So yeah. Sharon Fraser, I have the same flaw. One gets anxious to get rid of the debt, pushes the emotional button. Yeah. And I'm trying very hard not to do that, which is why I'm trying to just be like, blah, 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 all of my feelings today. Because if I tell y'all, then there's less likelihood that I'm going to do it that other way. So, Sharon Fraser, I have the same. And you know what? Here's the thing. This may go down in my journal as, you know why you should pay your debt, Snowball, in the right way, Stacey, is because if you would have paid it in the right way, this new IRS bill wouldn't have been as close to the old IRS bill, and you may have been a little less emotional. So like maybe you're repeating this lesson because you didn't learn it the first time, Stacey. Maybe. I don't know. So maybe I should learn it this time so that it doesn't have to come back, because it's not lost on me that this amount is so close to the last amount that I'm almost like, okay, God, are you like, learn this lesson now? Because I can't do in your life what I want to do for you with you not learning this simple lesson. That's probably how it's going to go down in my journal. But so I have a lot of journaling and stuff like that to do. But that's the reason why you put down the intention, the hope, the striving for the goal, is because I don't want to make it easy for me to fail. I want to feel it when I fail. I want to feel it when I make a mistake. And that's also why I'm documenting this journey. So, yeah, Georgia. My mom's name is Georgia, FYI. But again, the only reason I'm just not going to engage your comments are totally fine, but I'm not going to engage them because I just don't want to get in a political conversation. Anthony said, pay the taxes. You talk all the time about not being emotional about debt. It seems there are too many emotions involved with the IRS, so I'll get that out of my hair. Yeah, but I think there are emotions. The only one that's not emotional is the one that I'm proud of, which is my student loans. That's the only one that's not emotional. All of the other ones, my medical, I'm like, all of them are, but the one that I'm like, even though it seems like I'm being aggressive on that, I'm not. It just is a high minimum payment. And so it's just like, I think that this is just me. That's why I said I went back to the money mindset manual, because I'm like, oh, you manage emotions at one level, but like level to level, you're going to have to keep going in and digging up these emotions and figuring out what they're about, because each emotion triggers something differently, right? IRS is triggering disillusionment. Like, that is a powerful emotion. Like, look up the dictionary definition of disillusionment. And there's a reason why so many people like flip out about stuff when they're disillusioned, and I don't want to do that. And so even though it's like, oh, you're emotional, you're just emotional, it's like, yes, I'm emotional, but it's a different emotion expressing itself. And so I want to do the inner work on the different emotion that's expressing itself, so I reap the benefits of learning that lesson and actually applying that knowledge and information. Leah Millionaire said, Queen, get over it. You are having a tantrum about and being petty. Get that IRS debt done and move on. You got this. I disagree. I don't think I'm being petty. I think that this is intense. Like, $62,000 to play at a level is a lot. And maybe from your perspective, it's like, but if you can do it, it's not difficult. Or I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know what the perspective is that would make that petty, but I don't see $62,000 and being like, oh man, that's difficult, as like a petty sort of a tantrum sort of a thing. It's like, no, if somebody was just like, oh yeah, you want to play at this game that you dream of, you want to realize your dreams, $62,000 is how you get started. It's like, you're not going to be like, oh, because my mere desire to play at this level, let me give you this money. There's no negative sort of moment. It's like, nah, if I did that, then that would be me being out of integrity and out of alignment, and it would be worthless for me to document this journey for you guys if I was always like, bloop, 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 and we're going to move to the next jolly land, and we're going to move to the next hippity hop wonderful thing. It's like, that's not how any of this works. So I don't see it as being petty or a tantrum. And I don't at this moment feel like I've got this. There is work that I need to do to get to that point. So yeah. Strauss KP, there is something to be said for the snowball method. 100%. I think the snowball method is actually effective. I think the challenge is that my snowball, I keep having to make exceptions to it by putting the IRS debt at the top. So it's like, in theory, if I was just running the regular snowball, I probably would have less emotion. But because of the type of debt that I have, it's like I'm on a plan that I don't even really get to be on because I keep having to do the exception to the snowball. The snowball works. Like I keep finding myself in a situation where I'm doing the exception. So again, it's kind of like it's like you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go on a diet, and then you talk to your doctor. Your doctor is like, yeah, you could do that diet, except because of your blood type, you have to do this. So it's like, well, am I even on the diet? You know, that's what it feels like every time there's an exception made to a protocol that actually works. And then that produces some anxiety because I'm like, man, I know this protocol works. I know this debt snowball works. Like, but I keep having exceptions to rolling in such a way where I'm not accepting myself out. And so that makes me say, oh man, I'm not doing it right. Oh man, I'm never going to get out of it. Oh man, it's not working. But it's like, in truth, it is. But it's just like, it's hard to be on a diet where you get every other month or every 3 months, you end up making an exception. It's like, are you even dieting? And I'm only using dieting because I feel like it's an easy illustration to see the habits that come involved with dieting, because you need willpower, blah, 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 restriction, limitation, growth, blah, blah, blah. It's a lot of the same skill set. And it's an easier illustration than money sometimes. Alicia Mendoza said, oh my gosh, you said my name correctly. Watching this whole process, the emotion and all, helping me so much today. You're inspiring me. Thanks. I am grateful that has been an amazing byproduct of me truly wanting to get my finances together, that I've been able to help so many people. Strauss KP, and definitely take that tax class. I think you would be much less emotional about paying the IRS when you have confidence that you have reduced your tax burden as much as possible. Yeah, I think it's that, and I think that I really thought, and I probably should have known, but I just thought that I had dissolved a lot of my early conditioning about taxes. I really thought that I had dissolved it, but seeing that my tax entry fee is this, it's like it kicked me right back into my original blueprint, right back into my old conditioning of like, you know, and I had mentioned this to you guys before, like I was basically raised to believe that like this is what the government owed me. Like the government owed me this money. I was conditioned to believe that the government is horrible and a terrible thing, that and my essential job was to make sure at the end of the year I got my money back so I could show them like I made the government pay for being horrible. Like, and so that initial upfront conditioning of the government being the bad guy, like I need to still do some work around dissolving that, because the government isn't the bad guy. Like this is the entry fee to play at this game in the United States of America. That just is neutral. That just is what it is. It's an actually awesome sort of a way to be like possibility and probability for you. But from my old blueprint, it's like that's what's making it emotional, because it's calling up all those old things that I was conditioned to believe, and not just conditioned to believe it from my family, but conditioned to believe it from like a lot of people think, you know, a lot of people are weird, you make weird pants around taxes and have a lot of misinformation. And so it's just years and years and years of being conditioned in such a way where it's just like, none of you guys know what you're talking about. And maybe you do, but I shouldn't be listening to you, because we're not playing in the same money game. And the money game you're playing in does make a difference with how you view taxes. And anybody who tries to tell you otherwise is not in the same money game as you. They're just not. Yeah, I'm definitely going to take a class. Like, I'm a learner anyway, and information helps me, because if I understand, like I talk about it all the time, I'm my mom's why child. When I understand something, even if it seems like it sucks, I'll take it, right? Like, so I understand what entrepreneurship, you're risking your soul work, like you're facing rejection. You know, I understand all that. I knew that that's a part of entrepreneurship. So when that stuff comes, people are like, how do you deal with like confidence and self-belief? It's like, I don't struggle with that because I'm like, yeah, that's entrepreneurship. But that came from understanding about entrepreneurship. Because I don't have understanding, whole wraparound understanding about taxes, it's also adding to my overwhelming emotions because I just don't have anything else but to go back to my original conditioning or reach for this new conditioning that I don't actually fully understand. So yeah, Leah Millionaire. I just meant for the moment of calculating the numbers to take a breather, go get some water, breathe. Only a 2.5-second break, not stop budgeting or taking a break. Okay, awesome sauce. Hello, Cynthia McKinstry. What happened? Is she looking at old chat questions? Yes, I was looking at, Wit happened. Yes, Wit, I was looking at old chat questions. Alexis, is it Alexis? Alyssa? Alexis? I feel like it's Alexis. Oh, that's not fair. Alexis, I thought you saved 35%. That was an example. So I do save way more. That was just an example that I was offering to you guys. The numbers that I did at the beginning where I was like, okay, 250,000 would mean this, and I did the 25%, that was just an example. So for my current year, I don't have any feelings about my current year. I'm on target. I'm doing fine. It's just blowing my mind that my entry fee is so high, but I'm not behind or anything like that. This tax stuff is from last year. So it's just like, I don't want to keep feeling like I'm behind, but I put a significant amount away towards taxes, but finding out that even the significant amount, right? Like in my mind, I'm like, oh, for every dollar, at least a quarter goes to taxes. In my mind now, I understand, like, it's like, no, for every dollar, 75 cents is going to go to taxes, unless you do some other stuff. That's just the psychology that I'm giving. That's sort of like how when my accountant was like, well, maybe if you just allow yourself to think that this whole quarter, all earnings is essentially going to go to taxes, and then the other 3 quarters, that can essentially be the money that you have. Like, maybe that'll help you. It's just like, I'm just trying to think through, how do I wrap my mind around it? Because it's extreme to say for every dollar, 75 cents goes to taxes. I know that's not true, but it's still a little frightening for me to be like, okay, well, maybe just 50%. But even for me, like, just getting this out of nowhere, I'm like, I'm worried that that's not going to be enough. Like, it's almost like I'd rather on the front end be like, oh, I just made 25 cents than to be like, I made 50 cents and then end up owing 25 cents, you know? So it's like, yeah. So, I literally today was going to be like, and my income this month is $2,000, but that would have been a lie. So I was like, I can't lie to you guys. Wendy Cooper, the new tax law is confusing to me too. I don't necessarily think that it's the new tax law. I actually benefited from the new tax law, which that's awesome. So I benefit, so the tax liability that I have is my personal tax from last year. My current personal and business taxes are awesome, with the exception that it's gonna be a lot, and I'm wrapping my mind around it. It's still awesome, but it's going to be a lot, and I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it. But I'm not behind. I'm not overwhelmed. The new tax law actually positioned me in a much better position. If we were doing it under the old tax law, I might be even more upset than I am right now. Or not upset, but disillusioned than I am right now. But yeah, so. Leah Millionaire, you won't be in the same space forever. Watch your words. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying this today, and I'm writing this today because I've been doing, listen, if I would have talked to y'all a couple of days ago, you think the words I'm saying now are rough. You should have listened to the words from the other day ago. So yeah, I'm all about that. But also, this is about me documenting in real time what's really going on. And so I'm not going to be mincing my words or cleaning them up today, because I think that that's something else that we do, right? Like, we don't allow ourselves the space to have the feelings or the thoughts that we're having. We immediately try to cover them up with the balm of, like, you know, the life and death is in the power of the tongue, and what you speak you experience, and all of that is true, all of that is accurate, but not expressing something that's true for you in this moment is just as destructive, if not more destructive, than just saying it the one time to express it and let it out of yourself so you can be aware of it and examine it and do the right thing by it. Because if I were to try to, use thought work or inner work or positive thinking or any sort of technique to overcome this space that I'm in right now without actually honoring this space that I'm in right now, I'm going to end up right back here, because I wouldn't, it's like people are confusing, it's like there's this meme that was going around where it was talking about the difference between like actually helping people and or positivity and like toxic positivity or something like that. And it basically just talked about the idea that like, because everybody is so into the metaphysical ideas of like positive thinking and affirmation and visioning and manifestation and all these things, that they are spiritually bypassing a necessary part of the process, which is the acknowledgement of the truth. And for most people, your truth is this. It's painful, it's ugly, it's disgusting, it's irritating, it's disillusion. Your truth is something negative, and you want to spiritually bypass the truth and get to the positive affirmations or the positive things that you put over it without doing the work to actually root that thing out. And the only way to root this out is to express it. I just happen to have chosen video, but even if I wasn't doing it here, I would have done it in my journal, and I'm going to do it in my journal, and I'm going to do it at the gym, and then I'm going to do it with my therapist, and I'm going to do the work of sitting in these feelings. One, to teach myself that I can feel anything and be okay. Two, to acknowledge how I'm actually feeling, so I'm not stifling or running away or tucking away the negative feelings. Like, our life is meant to have these positive and negative feelings. Now, if I'm here a year later, then that means I didn't do the work. But me being here now for the 2.5, 3 hours that I'm on this live, totally healthy, totally normal. And we have to be mindful that just as mindful as we are about watching our words because we're speaking over our life, we also have to be mindful about stifling our words in an effort to spiritually bypass the work. This is the work. Yeah, this is the work. Socorro Feliciano. Ironically, I pay that more religiously than them tithing. You do it so well, though. Thank you. I didn't really understand your full comment, but I feel like it's just because it's broken up into a couple. But thanks for the compliment, Andrea Harville. With the debt snowball, once you pay off a debt, you take that minimum payment and add it to the next debt. Are you doing that every month? That's essentially what I should have done. So my minimum payment on my I didn't have a minimum payment, remember, on my IRS, and I didn't have a minimum payment on my City Girl. So there really was no like take that minimum and put it on my next debt. My minimum on my medical bill was $200, which I guess technically that's something that I should have rolled over, is that $200 minimum to attack my IRS debt. And so I can try to go in and adjust for that, but the way that my budget is set up this month, I didn't have the extra $200 to even be able to make that minimum, which would have meant if I would have had to start paying on my tax debt this month, I probably would have been behind. But yeah, technically that's what's supposed to be done, but because my debts don't have minimums, I'm not getting the traction that my debt snowball would otherwise get, because I don't have real minimums. We're just making these minimums up. Which is one of the reasons why I'm like, let's make BCD a minimum so that I can actually get the fruit of that. Kim Lewis, this is really good information for us entrepreneurs, or let me read prices aspiring entrepreneur. Yeah, or let me rephrase that, I think is probably what you meant. Aspiring entrepreneurs, yeah. It's like, be mindful of the emotional game that you're entering into, but also be mindful of the financial game that you're entering into, and to sit at the table. If you have the entrepreneurial dreams, I'm gonna say, of that 6 figures or more sort of a thing, the entry price is high financially. Alexis said, as an accounting major, I know exactly what Stacey is talking about. Thanks. Hey Jetta, yes, I made 3 times in 2018 that I did in 2017, and when I went from getting back 2,000 to owing 4,000, my hubby was floored. I said to him, well, I made 3 times as much. Yeah, like in theory, that's supposed to feel good. And I think, again, this is an assumption. I think if I was an employee, it would feel better. But as an entrepreneur, it doesn't feel good yet. I haven't found my sweet spot I haven't found my second sweet spot. I had a sweet spot, and it's very tempting to go back to that sweet spot, but that's just not how I'm set up. But I haven't found my new sweet spot, where I can comfortably say, and yes, this is just an indication of how much I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. But I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to clean it up. Jessica in progress. Have you thought about IRS debt as paying yourself later in terms of SS and Medicare? I know your current debt is not self-employment tax, but going forward, could it be helpful mindset? Yeah, that's already, we built that in too. Me and my accountant built that in as well. Like, I don't want, like, moving forward, I don't want any surprises. Like, I don't want any surprises. And the only reason why my tax liability surprised me is because, not that I didn't expect to be on par to earn exactly what I said I was going to earn. I just didn't know that earning that much meant paying that much in taxes. Like, I didn't know that. And now that I have proof in my past quarter that I'm likely going to make it, it's like scaring me to think about. Like, think about this, guys. Like, I have not paid more than $15,000 towards my debt. But based on what I'm earning in my company and the revenue that I'm generating, in order to not owe the government, I have to wrap my mind around giving the government $62,000. That just feels like I'm adding $62,000 worth of debt to my debt snowball. That's what it feels like. Now, it shouldn't feel like that because that's not what it is, but that's what it feels like. And so that's the inner work that I have to do of separating those. But yeah, we are calculating the SSI and Medicare because no surprises. No surprises. Wendy Cooper Fleming, who's coming for you? I'm proud of you. Thanks. No, I'm saying this is the perfect time to come for me. Like, I'm open to you coming for me now. Like, this is, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I'm open to it. But I don't think there's anybody in particular. This community is awesome. Flat Top Furry. Anna Story. If you were an employee, that tax rate for 6 figures is the same, right? I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't understand enough about taxes, right? Because my tax rate is also based on the fact that I'm single, based on the fact that I'm an entrepreneur. Like, there are many factors that go into it. So I don't know. And I also don't know how it shakes out for income, right? So, like, an employee that makes 6 figures, I don't know. That's why I'm going to take a class, because I don't want that to be my answer next year. Leah Millionaire said, yeah, I'm playing the game because that still leaves me $188,000. I'm good. Yes, but okay. It leaves you $188,000, and in theory, that feels good, but how do I explain this? Let me not negate that. Keep that mentality, because when you move into entrepreneurship, you're going to need that gumption to go, and I don't want to take that from you. So enter the game and be excited about the $188,000 that it leaves you. Anthony B. Well, you are preparing us now, laugh out loud. Everyone who does not make that much is like, okay, I take that $200,000 and pay $50,000 any day. Yeah, I think that that's what, in theory, people say, in theory, but it's just like, I don't know if you guys are understanding the risk, like, factor of, like, in theory, it's like, oh, it's a no-brainer. Like, if I have to pay $60, here's the thing. This is how you know you would do it, right? Like, this is how you know you can handle it. So you guys are saying, if I made $250,000, I would totally be fine because I'll have $188,000 left over. If that's true, what I want you to do is take your next $250 and pay $62. Just give somebody $62, and I want you to be happy that you still have $188 left over. Would you be excited if the math was more real to you? Because in your mind, you're like, $188,000 is a great amount. What's the deal? And it's the same way that somebody who doesn't have $250 would look at you like, oh, so you can't give somebody $62 and you got $188 left? Like, what's the problem? But if you can't honestly say out of every $250 that you make from here to the end of the year, you would comfortably give away $62. And I'm not talking about give away $62 that's going to come back to you. No, you're just giving it to the government. Like, you're giving it away. If you can't comfortably, confidently tell me that you would do that with 250, it's you are not gonna do that. You're not gonna confidently or comfortably do it with 250,000. It's the same thing if you made $25,000 and you ended up having to give away. What would be 25,000? If 250 is 62, 25 is 620 minus 620. If you got 220, if you did the work to make $250, right? You babysat, you dog walked, you did whatever to make $250. If you cannot confidently and comfortably say, boom, who can I give this $62 to? You don't have the mentality or the habit to confidently and comfortably and celebratorily give $62,000 away, because you wouldn't even give away 62. And I promise you, if you're not giving away $62 comfortably, confidently, and celebratorily, you're not going to comfortably, confidently, and celebratory give away $62,000. It's the same emotional thing. Take $250 in your if you have $250 in your checking account right now, this is for Leah Millionaire. I want you to go give somebody $62 and then tell me how excited you are about the $188 that you have left over. Answer on Alexa said, can you do a video where you got your clothes? Possibly. I may do it. I'm not 100% for sure just yet. I just know that since I'm not doing a capsule, I don't want to feature content that's going to make you want to shop. Because I do understand that a lot of people are following me from the budgeting for the budgeting side, and I don't want to do anything tempting. And there's an aspect of like, if I'm showing you clothes, it's going to tempt you to want to buy, and I don't really want to do that to you guys. And when I was doing the capsule, my price point was lower, and I was giving you guys value and useful information of how you can save money, versus if I show you what I'm getting now, even though it's not costing me probably what you would think it would be costing me, I do still think it would tempt you to go into more stores, and I don't want you guys to do that. I really take the influence that I have very seriously. So that's the only reason why I haven't done it, even though I've gotten it at a really inexpensive rate. Because of how they look, I know it's gonna send people to the store. Because when I watch other influencers and they're like, oh my God, I got a haul, all I wanna do is buy all of that stuff. And it's one thing if I get it from a thrift store, because that inspires you to go thrifting. But it's another thing if I get it from a store where it's available right now. It's gonna make you wanna click, and it's gonna make you wanna buy. And I don't wanna do that to you guys right now. Not right now, but in general, I don't wanna do that. There's something about that feels like it would be out of alignment with supporting you on this journey in the way that you guys are supporting me. So I'm thinking through it. If I can think through a way to do it without it creating a desire for you guys to possibly spend money that you don't have or is not in the budget, then maybe, but I don't know. I feel like my lips look so chapped. Wendy Cooper Fleming said, can you surround yourself with people who have made the walk? Yeah, that's what I'm doing now, and they are all laughing at me. They're like, oh, this is so cute. I remember when I went through that. They are like rolling on the floor laughing. And they're like, I remember when I had this moment. Keep going. Just keep walking. Like, that's their encouragement, which that's encouraging, right? Because they're like, nope, you're not losing your mind. This is totally normal. Which is really great that I do have people like that around me, and I've been intentional about finding them. But they're just laughing, and they're like, there's nothing we can do to help you. You really, this is the work. You have to work this out. And one person told me, they were like, but when you learn this lesson, you don't understand like, you thought your income was growing exponentially before. They're like, she was just like, when you get this lesson, the exponential growth in your finances, It's gonna blow your mind. It's gonna blow your mind. And she was just like, I love the way that you think and the way that you organize things anyway. So I'm really excited to see what theory you come up with out of this. And I was like, no, just tell me, like, what's the lever? What's the secret? This is stupid. You know, she's just like, no, you're doing good. Keep going. I'm like, blah, blah. And I said, okay, I see what you're saying. Reality didn't match the expectation what you were taught. That is usually not the most pleasant experience. I'm embracing it for myself. Stepping into Money Game 2. Yeah. It didn't match it at all. Like, Money Game 1 made it seem like if you get to Money Game 2, like, it's smooth sailing. And Money Game 3 made it seem like if you're in Money Game 2, you're so well off, it's totally fine. And it's just like, both of you are wrong. Both of you. You know. Michael Keefe said you have more tax advantages. Michelle. Oh my gosh, am I just reading that, Michael? I totally am. I'm so sorry, Michelle. Okay, could you tell me some of my tax advantages? Did you finish answering the old chat? Yes, Unique, I did. So if you had something in there, just pop it into this one. I'm so sorry, Michelle. I truly apologize that I really just didn't see that. Shantae said, you're cute the way you are. Thank you. So Michelle said, as a business owner, you have a vast amount of business expenses to reduce. That's 68. Okay. So that is the other thing. And that is what my accountant said to me. And that's what I mean about risk, right? So what is the fastest way to reduce your tax liability? The fastest way to reduce your tax liability is to lease a space, right? Because then you have a whole building or an office space that you can write off. But that's risk, guys. Like, if I go out and rent an office so I can reduce my tax liability, do you understand that puts more pressure on me to make sure that I'm making a certain amount of money so that I can cover my new rent? Like, that's what I mean by the risk and the pressure. Like, yes, I get more, what did you call them? Business expenses. But for every business expense, that's pressure. So let's just say I don't go rent an office, because that would definitely take my tax liability down, right? Like, let's just say I got an office that was $2,000 a month. That's $24,000 a year. That takes down my tax liability. But then what I have to bring in month to month, like stress-wise, because I'm under contract to pay my rent, it's like I moved from having to pay $900 in personal rent to now having to pay $9 in personal and $2 in business. In theory, it's like, oh, just go get some business expenses. But you got to understand, that's why I said, like, business expenses are almost literally the opposite of personal finances, in that in business you're encouraged to spend. You do get tax advantages for spending, but for everything I spend, I have to be prepared to carry. I'm gonna cry. Like, I have to be prepared to carry that weight. And like, I don't want to lease an office. I don't want the stress of that, because if something comes up with my son, if anything comes up, I don't want to be like, I can't go because I rented this office so my tax liability wouldn't be so high. Or, for example, let's not say I do an office out of physical property. The next way to reduce your tax liability is an employee. You know what I can't handle right now is an employee depending on me to pay them so they can feed their family. That is too much. I can't do that. I can't wrap my mind around, like, thinking about having to make sure I pay this employee every single month, right? Let's just say this employee makes $2,000 a month for me. That's $24,000. That reduces my tax liability. But God forbid something happens to me, like, and I get sick or anything happens, then I can't pay that employee. That employee can't pay their family. So it's like, my accountant said the same thing, girl, like, you got to get some more expenses. But it's just like, to get more expenses means spending money. Spending money means taking on more risk. I emotionally don't think I can handle taking on any more risk while I'm also trying to manage my current personal liability. That's the struggle. Like, that's the balance. Like, that's the tender part, is that, yes, I do get all of these advantages, but you don't get those advantages if you don't get in the game, if you don't take the risk. And I'm telling you guys, I cannot emotionally afford to take the risk of increasing my business expenses just so I can decrease my tax liability, because I can't handle that pressure month to month. I can't handle it. And then it's just like, okay, 1099, subcontract, right? Like, you guys know that I want to do events. So I'm like, all right, how can I create the maximum amount of expenses for each event that I do. It's just like, in theory, put on a $10,000 event, Stacey, and reduce your tax liability. But do you know what it's like managing a $10,000 event? Guys, that stuff is like, you know what it's like to manage a $10,000 event, and you're out here trying to make sure the other parts of your business function, and you're trying to be a mom, and you're trying to be a sane person. It's like, in theory, go get some business expenses. In application, what you're saying is, Stacey, go take some more risk. And I'm like, you guys, my personal liability does not allow for me to take that type of a risk. There's a reason why the business mindset manual and the money mindset manual are not physical products, because I can't handle the risk of inventory. Those things would be so much better as physical products. I know that, but I cannot handle the risk of that inventory. So it has to be digital so that I can still earn and still serve, but it's not in its highest best form because of the risk. That's what you guys are not thinking through from an entrepreneurial perspective. It's like, yes, go create some expenses, but for every expense, who do you think is managing that? Who do you think is thinking about that? Me. I can't handle the risk. So you're right, 100%. But is that risk worth not having this tax liability? Either way, I'm going to be paying $62,000. The idea is, do you want to pay $62,000 in this super risky, very visible, fun looking way? Because I mean, imagine if I got a new office and I was like, let's decorate and blah, blah. It would be fun and it would look fun and it would look awesome. But I'm still paying $62,000. I'm still paying the entry fee anyway. It doesn't matter if I do it in taxes or I do it on the front end. I'm paying it anyway. And one way comes with what feels like an insurmountable risk right now. And I don't know. I still need to work through it. I'm still emotional. Y'all saw those tears, right? One comes with this risk and the other one doesn't. But like, think about that. Like, my personal liability is over $190,000. I don't think it would be wise to go and take on a $24,000 potential liability in leasing an office space to mitigate a $62,000 forthcoming liability that's going to be my taxes. You know? So, wonderful suggestion. It's exactly what my accountant said. And I just looked at her like, I appreciate that, but that does not one problem solve. Jay Dyer said, I think entry fee is a bad analogy. You don't pay it up front, you pay it after you earn the money. I get what you're saying, but it's not like a gamble or an upfront fee. Also, you're acting like the money goes poof. You benefit from the money, you get the results of those services. Not all of them, of course, but you get roads, firefighters, police, etc. Yeah, I'm a proud American. I'm totally fine with that. I'm not arguing with it going to the IRS. I'm not saying that it goes poof. I'm totally fine with that part. And I talk about that quite a lot. I think it should go to those things. So that's why when somebody was like, yeah, the system is, I was like, yeah, I don't have a problem with the system. This isn't a rant on the system. This isn't a charge that things should be different. This is, you guys are witnessing me be disillusioned about what it means to be a high earner in the country that I love. I don't think that the money goes poof. It is hard for me to wrap my mind around paying an additional $62,000. And the reason why I say it's an entry fee, it's like, if I think about it on the back end of like, oh, it's not an entry fee, I get to pay it over time. That is the reason why the average entrepreneur has all this back debt, because of that. They see it as a fee that they pay later. And that piss poor analogy is the reason why a lot of entrepreneurs aren't winning in finances with their business finances. The proper analogy is it's an entry fee. If you see it as an entry fee, you understand that it is the price that you pay to be great at this level of entrepreneurship, versus it's the fee that will come if you make it. It's like, no. That's why back taxes are a thing. That's why most entrepreneurs are ridiculously like buried under their taxes, and most of their year to year is not profitable. So I think you're misunderstanding me when I say this entry fee. I meant what I said. It's an entry fee to play the game at this level. It's not a fee that I pay on the back end. It is an entry fee for me to dream this big. And two, I don't think it goes poof. The person who's just like, oh, I'll have $188,000 left, when I was expressing to her, of your 250, give somebody 62. The reason why I was expressing it like that is to make it more real for maybe where her finances are. But make no mistake, I don't begrudge where the $62,000 are going. That is just a number that is difficult to wrap my mind around, given the amount of energy and effort that it takes to earn that just to be able to pay it. That's what you guys are not linking, and a lot of that is just because when you have on an employee hat, you're only thinking about it from the perspective of being an employee, not from being the creator of something, right? I don't begrudge helping my roads. I don't begrudge helping my firefighters. I am the most proudest American that you are going to find in the current climate, likely. Like, I'm a super, and I talk about it all the time. I don't begrudge where the 62,000 is going. I'm not talking about it because I don't want to get political, but you're witnessing disillusionment. That's it. I'm not mad at the system. That's why I'm not like, the IRS is horrible. No, I'm like, whoa guys, I'm super surprised. That's why I'm not talking about them from a political perspective. I'm simply sharing, hey, this sucks. Guess what I have to pay in order to play at this level? Like, that's just what it is. So and I'm saying that to say, I don't want that to be misconstrued as like, she's huffing and puffing about the system. Like, no, this has nothing to do with the system. I have no argument with the system. I just made mention, like, I went from being a teen parent to a whole entire entrepreneur inside of less than 2 decades, and I'm going to be making $250,000. That's amazing. And I'm a girl. Like, that's amazing. Most people in many countries can't do that, right? I'm super young to be at this level, but that doesn't take anything away from how difficult it is and how challenging it is. And that's what you're witnessing, is the truth of the challenge, not my frustration with a system. Like, I never use language like that. I am a proud American, and I have absolutely no issues with paying my taxes in like, I have no issue with why I'm paying my taxes. My only issue is the disillusionment about how much my taxes will be. I wasn't expecting that. It's hard. I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. Melissa Jones, have you considered making a tax sinking fund saving? I do. So again, yes, my current taxes are current. It's just the total amount is a lot, but I'm not behind on my current taxes. The total amount is a lot. My entry fee to earn what I want to earn is a lot. And what's happening as an entrepreneur, right? I get to decide. If I close my business today, the taxes that I've paid means that I'll be even for the year. If I decide that I don't want to earn any more money, and I don't want to help any more people, then I don't have to worry about this. But if I want to stay in the game, that's what I'm wrapping my mind around. It's like, Stacey, if you want to stay in this game and you actually want to scale and you want to serve the amount of people, you have to be willing to pay this fee to serve these people. There is a price, and nobody says that when they're encouraging people to go into entrepreneurship. Nobody says that when they're like, girl, make 6 figures. Nobody says, hey, if you want to play at this level, understand this is your entry fee. And if you can wrap your mind around your entry fee, the game will be awesome. If you can't, the game will be stressful. The game will be frustrating. The game will be overwhelming. I'm just simply wrapping my mind around the entry fee right now in front of y'all in real time. M.W. Johnson said, very good analogy, thanks. Risha said, hi Stacey, I'm super late, wanted to say hi. Hello. Crystal B, I'm having issue with my zero-based budget because I have some auto debits that aren't consistent. If they're auto debits, why aren't they consistent? I don't know why they wouldn't be, like, are you saying they're not consistent in the amount, or they're not consistent in the date? Like, why are they not consistent? Usually auto debits are pretty consistent. Michelle said, I get the emotions behind the feelings of paying the entry fee. However, the country was built upon fearful yet fearless at the same time, like who are willing to take the risk. Yeah, that's 100%. The definition of entrepreneurship is that. That's why I'm saying you guys are witnessing disillusionment. I'm willing to take the emotional risk, right? I had not wrapped my mind around the financial risk. So that fearful versus fearless, I'm there. That's why y'all see me out here making thousands of dollars, because I've managed for that. I did not manage for this financial part, because this financial part was not, I wasn't conditioned properly around the financial part. So that's why there's disillusionment and a ton of emotion. El Green, it's hard to stick to the snowball principle, and I'm trying to remind myself that it works. It works. I'm a bad example because of the exceptions, but 100% the debt snowball works. Greta King, thank you for your transparency and courage. You're welcome. I appreciate you guys for showing up. Listen, I wouldn't even be here huffing and puffing about this major liability had it not been for you guys. There was great healing that happened, and in that healing happened, it enabled me to stand back up and go back out and do that fearless, fearful thing that is entrepreneurship. And I'm very clear that the way that I'm going to get myself out of debt in the amount of time that I prefer to get myself out of debt is going to be through entrepreneurship. So I'm 100% committed to the game, but if you guys want to see how I'm actively playing the game in this moment, I'm emotional and I'm like disillusioned and it's painful. El Green said it's just not going to happen overnight. Oh yeah, no, not at all. Yeah, Crystal B, you have to figure out, I don't know why that it would be different amounts. I don't know what that's about. Either it's different amounts or different dates, but if it's different amounts, then that just means that you're not on a budget plan with whatever your expenses are. And I just put myself on a budget plan for my expenses, so it would be the same amount because it makes it easier for me to budget. Judy Hendricks said, I love that you are taking time to think this through for future growth. Yeah, like, could you guys imagine what's going to happen to me when I make $1 million? Like, it's funny, like, we dream in theory, and so many people think that their dreams don't happen because they don't have the willpower or the creativity or the inspiration or the go or the support. No, most people give up on their dreams because as soon as they hit a real moment of application and the tension between what they thought, the theory, and what they are experiencing, that tension on application, most people give up at that point. And it doesn't matter whether your dream is $1 million or to lose 10 pounds or to get married or to go to college or to buy a house. The minute everything you're thinking, you have to actually apply the rules to get what you want to experience. That is when people give up. And so it's just like, yeah, you got to think through it, because if I don't get this, I won't get there. And I'm getting there. I'm making way too many decisions now for me not to get there. Like, it just is the dream. It just is the thing that's going to happen. So I'm definitely going to get there. But one of the things that I always wished for, and part of the reason why I documented this, is because nobody talked about this part. People were just like, yeah, you know, I used to sleep in my car, and then, you know, I was homeless, and, you know, God gave me an idea, and I did the work, and it was hard work, and it was hustling, and it was grinding, and everybody calls me an overnight success, but for 10 years I was hustling and I was grinding, and you guys are seeing the fruit of that now. That's typically the story, and that's amazing, and that has inspired me in so many different ways. But the challenge with that is that, like, nobody's giving the details of that in-between stuff, and because nobody's giving the details of that in-between stuff, it's like there's great disillusionment from getting from here to there. And I understand why people aren't giving that part, because it's unattractive. Like, this is probably one of my most unattractive videos. Like, Leah Millionaire was like, oh, it's a temper tantrum and what'd you say, temper tantrum and petty, right? Like, obviously I'm not being attractive right now, so nobody wants to show this side of that journey. But I made a conscious decision that I'm going to show this side of this journey. One, because I heal very well through talking out loud. And two, because I want my grandchildren's grandchildren to get what all, you know, great grandma did in order to, like, position you guys here. I don't ever want you to question the whatever it is. I don't want you to have the questions that I had, right? And I had those questions. And so this is the unattractive part of the journey, where you are expressing the stress and the pressure and the overwhelm of the space of being smack in the middle of application of your thoughts and your dreams, like where you could easily be misunderstood. Like, this is the stuff that nobody shares, and you don't share it because most people don't understand it, and the feedback that you get is painful and it's hard, right? Like, Like, for example, like Leah Millionaire, I could totally be like, you call me petty, I'm gonna block you. Like, I'm not gonna do that because I asked for you guys to come for me today, right? Like, I'm like, hey, you got something to say it. But like, under normal circumstances, somebody telling you to your face that you're having a tantrum and you're being petty, you don't keep that stuff around you. Like, and this is, nobody wants to share this with you because nobody wants to be called petty or be told that they're having a tantrum. Nobody wants, no adult person wants that. But like, if that's what's happening, it's like honoring what is happening so that the awareness and the insight that comes from honoring what has happened, that enables me to make the next right move. Pretending like this isn't happening by coming on here and be like, okay guys, we're gonna do my budget, some things have come up but I've managed for it, it's totally fine. Pretending to do that serves no one. It doesn't even serve me. So it's like, I want you guys, I mean, and that's not true. I didn't want you guys to know this. I thought it was going to be a couple thousand people. Apparently, there was other, things at work because it turned out to be not a couple thousand people. But I have made mention, like, if I'm going to do this, I'm a student, so you guys are going to see me learn. You're going to see me make the errors. And I'm sure, a year from now, 2 years from now, I'll look back and be laughing at myself the way that my current, $250,000 earning peers are doing. But for right now, I'm like, I'm gonna show y'all what this is. This is tough for me. It's tough. So yeah. So yeah, it's like people don't think through their stuff and then they don't understand why they grow. Like, I'm gonna, like, think about where I was this time last year. What is this, April? Just for kicks, somebody go watch all of my April videos and see where I was in April of last year versus where I am now. And the only reason I'm in a different place is because I decided to think through what I was feeling and what I was going through and what I was reaching for. I decided to do the work of thinking through it. And it just so happened that I thought through it, like, on video, so I have documentation of it. But that's all it is because I decided to think through it. Most people don't think through it. Even when I'm coaching, I tell people, like, the root of my coaching philosophy is teaching people how to think. Like, that's the one skill that most people don't know how to do. And so, yeah, but it's the game changer. Michelle said, I'm so grateful for a person like you whose taxes help the less fortunate. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That's really sweet. Crystal B, exactly. Michelle Williams, I thank you so much for sharing your video. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, welcome. Judy Hendricks, sorry, growth. You have inspired me to think more before making decisions. Yes. That's all I ever want is for people to think. Thinking changes your life. Like, I'm trying to fix this phrase. I haven't gotten it together all the way, but in my mind, I'm like, if you want to change something fast, you need to do something differently. If you want to change something like at a moderate, consistent pace, speak. Like, you literally can change your life through speaking. But if you want to change something permanently, you need to think differently. And most people don't know that. You always come back to your thoughts. You always come back to how you see things. You always come back to your perspective. That's why the financial blueprint and the money mindset, that's why their mindset, like the money mindset versus the business mindset, they're focused on mindset, because if you change how you think, you change things permanently, period. I said, same boat, no fun at all. I usually keep it in my mind when I set new stuff up, make sure I can set the date to the first so that okay, you're answering someone else. M.W. Johnson, so not petty. Why can't people be comfortable with transparency? I think she is. This, I don't think that, I didn't take in her calling it a tantrum and petty. I think she was trying to be like, girl, and she literally said that, girl, you got this. I think it was more so coming from that place, but those were the words that were used. But I definitely invited that. So I don't want you guys to be mad at her. Like, she just was also expressing herself, right? But yeah, but I do think people are uncomfortable with transparency because we don't think as much as we used to, and people don't know how to disagree without being disrespectful. It's a skill that has been lost, and people think that rightness is sameness, and it's like, rightness is not sameness. That's not what it is. And so it's like, me thinking like you or you thinking like me is not the indication that something is right. And we are now at a time in history where that's just what people think, and that's just not true. Let's see, El Green, yeah, same here. I feel like the IRS payment is slowing down the debt snowball. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, Crystal B, there is a new IRS debt payment from my tax liability for 2018. Crystal B said, did your accountant make a mistake? No, my business part that's covered. It was, I had a part-time job last year and I didn't pay enough in for my part-time job. And I didn't realize it. So, nope, not on my accountant. It was on me. Andrea Harville, do you believe in the law of attraction? Yep, 100%. Yeah, so she said maybe the inability to celebrate the first time you paid off the IRS is affecting now. Lesson, celebrate your wins even if you don't feel like it. Yes, I do think it's that, but I also think it's just the lesson of honoring my debt snowball too. I think there's a couple of different lessons in there. Like it is, for me, it's not lost on me that it's nearly the exact same amount, right? That part, not a coincidence. And so when I do my thought work and my journaling about it, I'm really going to work through that, because in the same way that I know that I was holding on to my student loan debt as a badge of honor, I have to figure out how I'm owing the government. And I think what it is, this is just off the top of my head right now, I think what it is because I feel, I don't know what the actual feeling is. The word that's coming to mind is guilty, but I don't know if that's the actual thing. I have to do a little bit of more work, because again, this is just off the top of my head, but I think I feel guilty for the success that I'm generating. And even though I'm managed for my fear of success and I've conquered it in the way that I'm now allowing myself to be successful, I think I have some tiny roots that are like, well, consciously go ahead and let yourself be, because here's the thing, before I couldn't handle success consciously or subconsciously. Now I can handle success consciously, right? But I think subconsciously I still have some little roots there that are just like, we can't let her get too successful. Like we really still are afraid. So we're not going to do it, because it is not lost on me that I literally recreated to nearly the cent, the exact tax liability that I was trying to pay off this year. Right? Like it's so close to the last, like literally the chunk that I paid off, like the last payment, that it's so close to it. I'm like, there's something about this. And I think it's because I have some more subconscious roots of this fear of success, and I need to work through that. And I think that there's still some more guilt that like I am moving from money game 1 to money game 2, perhaps even money game 3. You know, there's some guilt I think that I'm feeling about that. And I need to work through that, so that way I stop attracting these into my life. Because there is something to be said for just, you know, Murphy's Law, and just, this isn't about you, you know, this just is what happened. But there's also something to be said for subconsciously what this means and how I'm holding it. Because if I'm holding it, like for example, my student loans, holding that as a badge of honor does not allow for the releasing of that debt in any way, shape, or form. Now that it's no longer a badge of honor, you see me making $1,600 a month payments. And I feel like there's something in that IRS debt, and I just have to do the work to figure out what it is. So I'm going to work through the money mindset to figure it out. But yeah, I believe in the law of attraction the same way I believe in the law of gravity. So yeah. Oh, so it's Alyssa. So not Alexis, it's Alyssa. Okay. El Green said, some people suggested that she find a new CPA. Why? It's not my CPA's fault. Why would I find a new CPA? She's doing her job. It's not her fault that I'm disillusioned. That doesn't have any, it's not her fault. She's just a messenger. Why shoot the messenger? What? You guys, why do I need a new CPA? I don't understand why a new CPA. I don't understand how a CPA would change it. Jay Dyer said, even in corporate America, we understand we're not going to make the salary we're offered. Say I'm 100K. I know after taxes, insured, etc., I'm going to only take home 60% of that. Yes. But do you see how, like, all you have to worry about is your salary? I'm paying taxes on my company, and I'm paying taxes as a person. And even though I should be able to say, oh, well, the taxes you pay as a company is different than the taxes you pay as a person. Guess what it feels like? It feels like paying taxes twice. So, in order to make what your example of corporate America match, imagine having to do that twice, right? So, imagine saying, oh, as a salary person, I make 100K. I know I'm only going to take home 60. Also, I made 100K for the company, but I'm only going to take, it's like you get, it feels like being taxed twice. So it's like, yeah, I'm not disillusioned by the fact that I have to pay taxes. I'm disillusioned by the entry fee to pay to play the game at this level. That's it. It's mind blowing. I mean, try it. It's mind blowing. Kevin Deaton, put your forearms close to the camera. No. Crystal, Melissa Jones, thanks to the new tax law, this is my first year. I didn't owe a couple of grand to the IRS, my first positive tax experience. Yeah, like if the new tax law wasn't there, I wouldn't have been behind because I set more than enough aside, but it did feel good to feel like I'm ahead a little bit for my new taxes as opposed to my old, my old taxes. But yeah, I'm really grateful for the new tax law too. Jay Dyer, you look awesome today, by the way. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Life coach J. Renee Williams, get it out now and go from there. 100%. Greta King, now I see the importance of living within or below your means, especially as an entrepreneur. This is very helpful to me when you are sharing your story. Thanks. Yeah, that is a part of my intent too. I don't want more risk. I want to be as risk-free as possible. That's why it took me so long to really adjust my grocery budget, because I'm like, man, I want it to be as simple and as constrained as possible, because there's so many risks that you take on as an entrepreneur, and every decision is your decision and your responsibility. And it's intense, man. It is intense. Anthony B said, I can understand that, Stacey. It's all unexpected, so you have not wrapped your mind around it yet. I'm glad that I can see you there and the feelings you have. Yeah, and in my mind, I'm like, well, let yourself wrap your feelings before you come on here. But that's what I did when I paid off the IRS debt, right? And we never celebrated. So I already know that if I don't share with you guys within the window of what I'm experiencing, I'm never going to share with you guys, because nobody wants to come on camera and be like, oh, I'm so upset. Like, no, I don't actually want to do that. I know that's going to happen, but I don't want to do that, because it's like, I rather for you guys to just think that I know what I'm doing, maybe. I don't know. Nobody wants, I don't know. I just don't want to do that. But I learned from not celebrating the IRS payoff that if I don't share, I'm never going to share. Because now, even if I do share the celebration of the IRS payoff, it's just going to be confusing. So, but we do have the medical bill payoff, so we're going to do that soon. J-Bo said, you get a standing ovation for all of your work. Thank you. Thank you. Damn Jewel says, the brighter day is coming. Once you pay off all your debt, you can then pay into savings options. Yep. And yeah, like paying my tithes does change some of my tax liability. So that's one tax advantage that I don't mind sewing into, because it doesn't come with any additional risk to me. Jay Dyer, but the money does come back to you. You get benefits from that money. Just because you don't see it as money you get to control does not mean you don't get that money back in benefits. Okay. I'm not for sure. I don't have the capacity in my brain to see that way. I'm pretty sure in a couple of months I will, but right now I'm like, okay. You know, it's kind of like when your kid is done listening and they're just like, okay, mom. That's kind of how I feel. And I don't want to do that, but trying to be honest about where they are. I just don't have the capacity to be that gracious about it right now. But I'm sure in a couple of months I will be, because I think that that's where my friends are who are laughing at me, or my peers who are laughing at me. Down south with Danny, I do that each month in my line of work with underprivileged kids anyway, so I would be okay with that. Okay. Hold on. All right. Let's see. Andrea said you should still apply the snowball payment method if you have established the minimum payment yourself. Maybe next month you'll still doing great either way. Yeah, I'll definitely try to stick to that. Um, Anthony B. However, I understand your feelings when you get hit with something that you were not expecting. Neither was knowledgeable. Yeah, like that's the hardest part. It's just disillusionment. It's difficult. Soybean said that's a lot. So I'm with Stacey. That's a lot of money to give away. Yeah. Greta King, since you work from home, can you write off a percentage of your rent? Yes, and we do. That's why I was saying my phone bill. That may no longer be on my personal side. I think my accountant is moving that over to as a business expense. Like she is like, go find some expenses, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna try to find some expenses, but we still have to maintain integrity. So I think that that's going to go over, but it's interesting because she's just like, you did such a good job, like finding quote unquote deals. So like, you guys know that my internet bill is $25 a month, right? And it's just like, from a personal finance perspective, that's amazing because I pay $25 a month. I get high speed internet, like whatever, streaming, all the stuff. I don't have to worry about like those bundles and the introductory fee, nothing. So personal finance wise, $25 a month is amazing. As a business expense, that means is that no way. Yeah, as a business expense, that means I get to write off $300 for internet. So like my accountant was like, it's amazing that like you got everything so affordable, but it doesn't reduce your tax line. Like I have a $300, is that right? That just feels wrong. 25 times 12. Yeah. As a business, one of my expenses is a $300 internet bill. What would be more ideal is like maybe if my internet was like, you know, $175 a month, and then my internet like write off was $2,100. But it's like, nope, it's $300 because I was smart from a personal finance perspective, but it doesn't necessarily translate into a business expense. And it's the same thing with my phone, right? Like my phone write off, $32.82 times 12. Going to be $429. So switching these two expenses into my business, I now have found $700 to be able to write off, right? So it's like my expenses don't make a dent because I intentionally looked for expenses that didn't come with a great risk because I really wanted to make sure that I could cover them personally in the event that I couldn't entrepreneur. And so yeah, so my accountant is like go buy a computer or something, and I'm like, I'm not like, and that's the thing. So what if just as my community who's been watching me, you guys see me and I'm like, you know, I got a new office chair, I bought a laptop, I bought a printer, I'm trying to think of other things. I decorated my office, and I did a co-working space with a rental fee. So you guys, from watching my personal finances, will witness me buying things in my business, right? Like computers and laptops and stuff. Then if I turn around and take a trip and then vlog myself with a new Air Mac, and I'm like, oh yeah, guys, I'm on a business trip, and oh yeah, by the way, I bought a new Air Mac, and oh, like, you guys are gonna be like, I thought you were trying to get out of debt. You out here buying laptops? Like, it doesn't, like, it, like, and then I'll say, and I will come on and be like, no, you guys don't understand. This is for my business. And you guys are going to be like, I think you have a spending problem. Like, you know, like it doesn't, like, it's so, like, I don't know how to explain the challenge between, and that's why I'm trying to figure out if there's a way for me to let you guys in on the business side, because my biggest thing is like, I need you guys for the accountability, and with the encouragement to spend, there is the danger of being out of accountability, because I don't need a laptop, right? But if I bought a laptop, that's a $200,000 expense I could write off. So it's like, oh, well, maybe we should go get a laptop so we don't have to spend the money on the government. But does that not show up as, well, why didn't you put that $2,000 towards your debt, Stacey? Like, do you guys see what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense? Like, it feels weird to do that. It feels like both ways. It feels like I'm out of integrity to do that. It feels like I'm out of integrity to go buy a $2,000 laptop to reduce my business expense, but still owe $5,000 in old business debt. Like, that feels weird. But it's like, in order to keep future costs for my business low, it's like, you better go get that laptop. So it's like, it's a really, I don't know how to explain, and this is just my top of the mind understanding. I'm gonna take some classes or something. My top of the mind understanding is that your business expenses are diabolically opposed to your personal finances. Because even if I was watching me and I like did a vlog of me being in my office that was now fully decorated with a new chair, a new printer, a new laptop, all new upgraded podcasting equipment, I would be like, but are you on a journey to get out of debt? Or are you on a journey to decorate your office? Like, it doesn't add up. But again, how do I create expenses without creating a consistent overhead, which then would have me take on more risk? That is the $250,000 question. And there is a reward for anybody who can answer it for me. You know what that reward is? Appreciation. Because I don't know how to answer that question. And integrity to this process is more important to me than mitigating my tax liability in my business. Because one of the reasons I failed before is because I was out of integrity. So I'm really not willing to compromise my integrity to mitigate my tax liability. So I think the situation is unique. And again, obviously, if I didn't have this much personal liability, we wouldn't even be having these questions. But I'm not gonna lie, if I was watching somebody quote unquote get out of debt and I just saw them buy a $2,000 Air Max talking about they had to do it so that they could create more expenses in their business and mitigate their tax liability, I'd be like, okay, fraudulent human being, I'm done. That just would be that would be me, and I'm me doing it. That's just would be me. But yes, I do write off my office nook. To answer your question, Melissa Jones, I get what you're saying about renting an office space. However, if your business space is the room or the space of your home dedicated to it, you can write that off. Yeah, and I do, but think about that. So like, again, my expenses just are not high. So my internet expense, my phone expense, that's about $750. My rent now is $970. We use about 1/10 of my full studio for my office nook. So that would be like $97. And I mean, maybe we could do a little bit more, but again, integrity is the biggest thing. 97 times 12, so that's $11,000. So now we're up to $1,700 of expenses that I've written off. You know, I kept my expenses low for myself personally, and it's having a negative, and I'm using air quotes, impact on me from an entrepreneur perspective. It's quite fascinating. Yes. Lab Cat said, I haven't watched since last summer. Interesting. Andrea Harville, as far as renting a space for business, can you get a membership to co-working space like the Wing, or write that off as a business expense, less obligation? Potentially. I mean, I was thinking about joining the Soho House. I've been approached to do that. I think that's like $2,000, and that gives me the social component. It gives me working space. I mean, there's a couple of benefits to it, but again, I don't know if I can justify spending $200,000 on a club membership when I owe $190. I don't, it feels out of alignment, guys. And maybe I need to just get over my feelings, but right now I'm in them, and that feels really out of alignment. Like, I would be, and I mean, you can't take pictures at the Soho House, so I would never be able, I wouldn't take pictures there, but like, I feel like if I didn't tell you guys that I got a membership at the Soho House, I would be lying by omission, right? Even if it was a business expense, I would be lying by omission. But it would be odd for me to lie by omission and not tell you guys that I got a membership at the Soho House. But if I did that, it would be because it doesn't make sense given my personal liability. If I was, I would be like, what are you doing with a membership at the Soho House? And then I would be like, but you guys, I have a business and I need, like, and it just doesn't seem to add up. But I'm going to figure it out. Anna Story said, just pay your taxes and keep your stress level low. That's likely the plan. That's likely what it's going to be, especially this year. And then if I do choose to take on some liability, it's going to be because I have a lot of capital, not because I have a lot of potential revenue that's going to come in. Yes, and I do write off my 1099 contractors. But again, I shop for deals. Like I don't want a contractor that I'm paying $24,000 to, because that's a lot of money. Like, so and I end up with a lot of favors. So like I have a website that's going to be launched, but that was a gift that somebody gave to me. So when my new website launches, it's like, yeah, I could have wrote that off, but what am I going to be like? No, make me pay you so that I can get the tax. Like, it's like, no, let me accept this gift from you. So it's a very interesting conundrum. El Green said, if you're not in an emotional space to increase expenses, just be emotionally prepared to pay taxes come tax season. Yeah, I pay my taxes quarterly, so that's what you guys are witnessing me. Preparing myself emotionally to pay my taxes this coming quarter, yes. Unique. I started baby step 2 in May. How do I snowball active debt? Consumer collections, medical collections, legal judgment, and student loans. Yes, I understand. SL. Hold off on collections until active is paid off. Yes, hold off on, that's what I'm doing. That's what Dave recommends, is pay your active debt smallest to largest, and then go to your collections. The Wealth Vibe, Shauna Green. I don't think you need to spend more money to have tax advantages. Whatever you have to spend does bring down your tax liability. You can also consider your apartment as office tax to reduce. Yes, but you guys, I live in a studio, so you have to be careful too, because it's just like, typically studios are one room, right? I don't want to be audited. I mean, even if I was audited, they would obviously see that there was a nook, but like, I can't, like, I don't know how to explain it to you guys, but yes, we are writing off my office nook, but that's like $97 that we're writing off a month, which again doesn't add up to as much as you would think that it would add up. Lab Cat, live and learn. Out of every check, set aside the percentage of your taxes so you can pay your quarterlies. Yes, that is what I do. My current taxes are fine. I am disillusioned by the total amount that I will have to pay to earn the amount of money that I want to earn. So, for example, to earn $250,000, I will pay $62,000 in taxes. I'm setting the money aside, but it is blowing my mind that to earn 62, I will pay, to earn 250,000, I will pay 62. That's blowing my mind. That's what you guys are watching. I'm not behind on that tax part. Tease Curl TV, you're a realist. I can totally relate to your point of view. Thanks. The Wealth Vibe, Shauna Green. It would be unwise to take on more expenses. I think the point is just to think about what to have to spend and how to be more, yes, exactly. I agree. I was just giving more examples of the person, to the person, so that they could understand, like, as the expenses, the risk that I can handle from expenses, I'm doing that now with the expenses that I have in my company. The challenge is that my phone bill and my cell and my internet is so low that even though I do have some expenses in my business, I intentionally kept them low to keep my risk low personally, but it does something, but it doesn't do as much as what people think. Jay Dyer, you probably completely missed what I said about entry fee. You don't pay the money in order to make the money. You have to make the money first. You may take it off the top of, take it out first. No, yeah, I get that. But that's, and I totally understand that. Like, you don't have to pay the money to make the money. But for me to believe in myself, I can't believe in the 250 if I'm not willing to pay the 6,200. That's the thing. And right now, the way my first quarter is set up, I'm making that 250. Probably gonna make more than 250. So I'm not saying that I have to pay it first. What I'm saying is, to even dream that dream, the totality of that dream is also me dreaming about paying 62 to the IRS. So people will dream. That's the issue. That's the challenge with dreams, is people will be like, oh my gosh, I want to be a star. But it's just like, that's the dream. The work to be the dream means to be a star. You are saying, I'm also signing up for rejection, and I am signing up for a ton of rejection. So most people think that they believe in the dream, but if you don't believe in the work required to achieve the dream, you don't actually believe in the dream. When my accountant walked me through what my revenue was and how I was doing, not only did she increase my belief in my dream, like, She solidified that thing. Now, like, I'm not wishing and hoping to make that amount. It's on the horizon. So it's like, now I really, like, before it's like wishing and, oh, you know, this is my intention, and if I get there, and if, you know, I'll shoot for the moon, and if I miss, I'll land on the stars. That's where dreaming begins. But real dreaming is being like, but let me go to this thing where I can learn how to be an astronaut, or let me invest this money so I can, you know, figure out how to adjust my body so that I can be in space. Like, you think you believe in your dreams, but if you don't believe in the work required to achieve your dreams, you don't believe in your dreams. That's what I'm believing for now. Like, it is not a matter of me being like, oh, don't worry about the 62 because you don't have to pay it until you earn it. It's like, no, I believe in the 250,000. That's why I'm thinking about the 62 now. That's dreaming. That's real dreaming. And most people aren't actually dreaming. They're wishing, and there's a difference. Like, I am realizing that thing, and you can't believe in one without the other. I can't put one off with, no, this is the price of this dream, and I have to accept that in order to accept this dream. And most people don't get their dream because they haven't accepted the work required to fulfill their dream. Jay Dyer said, that's what you should do. That's what employees do. They pay their taxes up front. Yeah, I'm not an employee though. I'm an entrepreneur. And so I set my quarterlies aside so that I can pay that lump sum, which I'm totally fine about. That's fine. The disillusionment is just the entry fee. The cost to make $250,000 is $62,000. I have to be willing to give my government $62,000 so I can, in integrity, earn $250,000 from the citizens that this government houses. That's all I'm saying, is that my entry fee surprised me. I am putting the money to the side. I am going to pay it, but I'm sharing this with you guys because so many of you guys are going after dreams that you think you believe in, but you don't believe in the work required. You don't believe in the fees for those dreams. And the fee for making $250,000 in 1 year is $62,000, unless I want to increase my expenses. I don't want to do that because you guys don't, I'm risk adverse, and I'm risk adverse because my personal liability is so high. That's all. Greta King, I agree with your approach to entry fee. You're setting yourself up to win. Yeah. I think it's calling it the system triggers some kind of political commentary, avoidance response. I didn't mean it that way. I literally meant the system of tax brackets and that it can suck at the moment. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Either way, it's fine. Yeah, I think system in general, like, it gets generalized a lot, and a lot of people mean different things by system, and I just don't want it to get political. So that's sort of why I avoided it, but understood. Specifically crossing one bracket to another. Yeah. And I think before, when I crossed this bracket, I was so unconscious that it didn't matter, right? But now I'm actually woke, and I'm like, whoa, do I really want to cross this bracket? El Green said, well, y'all, I gotta tap out. The energy transfer is real. See you later, El Green. Tamika John said, my problem is patience. I want it to happen overnight. We say that, man, but this is happening fast for me. I couldn't imagine if it happened overnight. It's intense. Simply Me Tay. So often the journey is left out, but that's more important than the destination. Awareness is important. Yeah. Adrian Calloway, your journey has prepared us for what we are facing now. You are triumphant and an overcomer. You have done and are doing the work to take inventory of change. How you process and perceive success is for you now. Yes, indeed. Melissa Jones, Stacey, do you have a group of entrepreneur peers that you can meet up with regularly, monthly, and trade war stories? Yep, I do. I do. And you need that, and I talk about that in my TED Talk. That's why peers are important, because when you're doing stuff like this, when you're doing it with friends or accountability people, they don't understand. And sometimes lack of understanding is not meant to be painful, but it shows up painful, more painful than it's meant to be. But I appreciate y'all, so I will endure this pain because I want this lesson. Like, as much as people are probably like, oh, you're so helpful to us, it's like, but you guys don't understand how much you're helping me. I got a little lost in the sauce because this person put in a whole bunch of weird thingies, and now I can't. I'm trying to get back to the questions, but I gotta get past all these weird thingies that they put in there. That sort of messed up the timeline. Or the chat box. Let's see. Labcat, it's always interesting to observe an apprentice that has the mindset of a master and a teacher. Oh, that's sweet. It's always I think that I'm receiving it as sweet. Melissa Jones, all of my friends are entrepreneur and I was the last one to join the party, but it is helpful to meet up once a month. We also help each other with big events and venture startups. Yes, indeed. Miss Meek, hey. Stacey, hey. Michelle said, I'm not understanding why you owe just as much IRS debt as before when your earnings were lower. Because the IRS debt that I owed before, the total that I owed before was $7,000. So it was actually more. It was way more. I think the only thing I can think of is the reason why I owe more. The reason why I owe the $3,000 and change now is because I also changed states. So Chicago taxes are different than other taxes. So I think my state tax liability is way higher. And then from the federal perspective, I don't know how taxes work in Chicago. This is my first year like working in Chicago and paying Chicago taxes, but I think that may have something to do with it. It's just from state to state, like you pay different taxes. And then, yeah, the original amount was way more. The reason why I'm saying the number is close is because literally the amount that I paid off in a lump sum was so close to this number that I'm feeling like it's just something from a subconscious root that I'm pulling back into my life. Yeah. So Michelle, the number was different. It just took me a long time to get to this number to only bring the $4,000 back into my life. Miss Meek, after I did my taxes for our family and my husband's side business as an insurance agent, I was so happy to see that we were getting back $82. Now I'm thinking of paying more taxes out. My check thoughts. I don't have any thoughts right now about taxes because I would be giving you some very emotional advice. So, yeah. Labcat, it might be helpful to take some courses through small. Oh yeah, well probably I'm through the Small Business Administration Learning Center. Yes, I'm gonna take some courses. Probably not about small business. I'm phenomenal at business. I'm not awesome at taxes, so I don't necessarily need business courses. I need like accounting tax courses, which could be a part of business courses, but just business courses in general, like that part, I got it in the bag. It's just the tax accounting part. But it's hard. It's like, and a lot of people are like, well, as a business person, you should know. But it's just like, there's a reason why most companies hire accounting firms. It's because that company didn't want to have to master another business. And so I'm not going to read to master accounting, but I will read to understand accounting and taxes better. But yeah. Life coach J. Renee Williams, totally understand what you're saying. Greta King, if it's a business expense, it's perfectly fine, provided you're meeting your personal obligations. Yeah, it feels weird though, Greta. Melissa Jones, you may have answered this before, but I honestly am catching up on your videos. Why isn't your business debt for BCD included in your business budget? Because that was a debt liability from a past business, and I didn't want to. My current business is an actual new business, and so I'm not going to burden my new business with old business debt. So it would be like if I had a company named Business A, just making Business C pay for it. I wouldn't do that because it's not their debt. Sharon Fraser, fraudulent human being. Yes, that's what it would feel like. And I mean, maybe I'm overthinking that. Maybe it's just a laptop. Go give me an Air Mac. I don't know. But in my mind right now, like, I'm like, I would be mad at myself. I still owe business debt and I'm out here buying Air Max. Like, something about that just doesn't feel right. Miss Meek. But Maybe this isn't about my feelings. Miss Meek Meek, Stacey, people are judgmental, and I feel right now you may need to limit what you share for your business. Sharing is good, but it can create negativity you don't need. Yeah, that's the only reason why I haven't. One of the reasons why I want to is because I'm telling you guys, the level of accountability, y'all don't understand. I learned so swiftly from reading your comments. I learned so quick. Like, it takes me, I mean, it looks like it's taking me a month to turn things around, but that's only because I'm documenting this journey in a monthly sequence. No, man, I learned so quick because I have it's like a global classroom of people responding to the problem. So not only do I get an American perspective, but I get the perspective of other countries, which gives me what I think boils down to maybe this this amazing blob of wisdom that is blows your mind. So there's a part of me that just wants to open up and talk about the business stuff so I can have that exponential growth from a business. Because if you guys notice, I'm not really talking about my personal finances. This whole thing is not about my personal finances, which that's what this journey is supposed to be about. So it's like I feel a little bit of oh, I want to do my business finances for that reason, but I don't know. I would never do it. I wouldn't do it at this level because I definitely have to protect what I'm growing, but I want to figure out how to harness this level of learning that I get from you guys. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so that would be the only reason, but yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah. Um, um, let's see here. Let us see. Okay. Hey Jetta, I think it's because it's old. Yep, you are 100% correct. D James, the money you make after taxes minus what you pay yourself could be reinvested in the business. That money is separate from your personal money. Yeah, yes. I have that separated as well. But I mean, I still have to pay taxes on money that I reinvest in my company. I have to pay taxes on all of my revenue. I get to pay taxes. That's what I hope I'm saying to you guys next month. I get to pay taxes on all of my revenue. What I'm saying to you this month is I have to. And I know that that's not true, but I'm getting there, folks. Van00293. Oh, you're answering a question. Oh, well, I'll say it out loud. If she needs to share less for her own health, fine. But I find it immensely helpful to see the real numbers. My advice is to ignore the judgment and not hide the truth. No, I agree. If I do share, it has to be the only way to share is to share in full disclosure, but how I share full disclosure is different. So you guys get to see me on the front end, right, of budgeting, and you guys get to see me on the back end, and you see me go to the grocery store. So you guys really are getting a level of detail that I would never do for my business. But the question could be, okay, do I share on the back end? Do I do a budget report card of my business that month, as opposed to on the front end? Because that's what Pat Flynn from Smart Passive Income did. He gave you guys the back end view of, my lips are so dry. He gave you the back end view of his monthly income reports. So he did not talk through with you guys what he did to earn and how much and what he didn't do that part, which is a whole emotional ball of wax. On the back end, he was just like, oh, this is how much I made and this is where I spent it. Maybe I might do that. I don't know, maybe. But it's just a matter of figuring out which way. But it would have to be, there would have to be a level of transparency in order for the growth to work. Let's see. Melissa said, but I thought the current business is a relaunch of the first business using the same name and everything. No, it's not. Lab Cat, this has been entertaining. I wish you well in your journey. I have my own journey, which requires my time and energy now, so I need to go. Sounds good. Wendy Cooper Fleming, what language is, Yeah, no, it's not a relaunch. It's a completely different business. Sharon Fraser, because you start with honoring God, the check for integrity is key. I agree. Um, but you know, you can honor God and still be out here being reckless. So I do think there's a check for my spiritual integrity, but like my personal integrity can get a little wonky. People honor God in many ways, but still get reckless in other ways. So. I did forget to include my son's college prep. Thank you so much for reminding me. I'm gonna switch out my graduation budget for my son's college prep. Thank you. I definitely forgot about that. And this is why you have accountability on your budget, because otherwise you'll miss things. Yes, that will be my son's college prep. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, KG6559. Let's see. The Megan experience. Well, I mean, I always budget that roughly 30% of my income goes to taxes. I never even consider that as a part of my income. Me too. That is what I've been doing moving forward. Don't forget your report too. Yeah, my report will probably be up tomorrow. Risha said, I don't know if people are coming in new and not understanding the whole conversation, but I think Stacey's having to say the same thing over and over. I feel like it's hard to get her to move forward to things because of having to repeat and explain the same feelings. I think it's just a conversation. You know how like in a conversation sometimes you revisit stuff, it just comes back up. Yeah. Risha said, I just have a different mindset. I say hey and then I listen. Wendy Cooper said you have the heart of a teacher. Thank you. I do think that teaching, speaking, teaching, and strategizing are my top 3 strengths. You know, are my top 3 talents. When I realized that, I literally stopped trying to host because I used to love hosting and like bringing people together, and people would tell me I was really awesome, and I realized that that was not one of my top 3 talents. And I remember the first year I didn't host, my friends had a fit, but I'm a much better person because I decided to mature into my top 3 talents. Kim Lewis said, I agree with the teaching aspect. She needs to go to a high school and teach business classes. Thank you. Risha said, I suspect you'd really like to get an airbag. Laugh out loud. Very focused mention of that item specifically, I've noticed. I actually like a MacBook Pro over the Air Mac. I'm a Mac girl in general. I was just thinking about an Air Mac because I know that I'm going to be traveling, and that would be nice if I actually had a laptop. But I'm not buying a laptop, guys. It's not going to happen. But no, I would actually get a MacBook Pro over an Air Mac. Do you have a car? If not, do you... Risha said, girl, get some balm. We can wait 30 seconds to get your lips together. Zaina said, I came late. Why are you paying the full amount to your trainer? It's just an automatic debit. It's just a part of the plan. I'm going to call to see if I can pause it, but if not, I'll pay that amount. I did not answer that question yet. Oh, okay, we're at the end of it. we are at the end and I answered all of your questions. So this was a good one. I appreciate you guys hanging out for my rant. Thank you so much, KG. I'm going to get the numbers wrong. KG6559. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Soybean. Thank you so many of you guys for joining me and giving me the space to talk through this. I definitely feel a lot better. I think I could even probably talk about my niece graduating without crying. Because you guys let me talk through all those emotions. So my budget is done. I did update that one expense, and that's it. So I hope you guys enjoy your May budget, and I will talk to you all very, very soon. Bye.